Obviously, you don't get consulted. I just found myself, I always use the word, I got kidnapped. I got put in a car and I was sent to boarding school. So you have to fetch your water, right? And then there's studies, man, prep, whatever you're gonna call it. You wake up at 5, you go to class while they're serving porridge. And then when they ring the bell, you go, people run, and you go there, you pick your porridge. You find your porridge has already been stolen, right? I would get written up. I was getting caned non-stop, bro. You know? And then when I get caned, I was like, yes, cane me harder so they can come pick a dead kid. The same day, closing day, we came home. My mom passed away. So my mom is probably over there just cooking and doing everything. She's like, what the hell are these people showing up? And then one day she just told, pack your shit. That's how it was back in the day. You know? Like when I go to Kenya, people think I'm joking, but then they realize I'm not joking because you're from America, they want to give you this Western food. Sometimes people even want to take you to KFC. I'm like, no. I want nyenye, mukimo. They think I'm joking. And that's the one. My experience in primary school is, like I said, I have that starting point of being dropped in, the first experience being dropped in school was nursery school. And then the first 4 years up to standard 4. So nursery school you go to, there's nothing in between nursery school, standard 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, to me it was a blur. Because me, I'm at home, I'm living nicely, you know? And I think my mom, at that point, like I said, I have siblings who are much older. My mom had calmed down. I was a spoiled baby. I wasn't doing hard labor. I wasn't in the farm digging and stuff like that. So even when I'm done with school, I just come home, play with my toys, or go and bother the workers and stuff like that. But then one day, obviously you don't get consulted. I just found myself, I always use the word, I got kidnapped. I got put in a car and I was sent to boarding school. You know, although the truth of the matter is, one day my dad told me, we're going to go somewhere, we're going to go test, however. And then when you do very well, because I'm a studious guy, you do very well, you're going to get a gift. I went over there. You remember, it's very competitive, this school, to get in. And whatever test, the placement test or whatever they call it, I aced it. So I got in. So when I came home, since I qualified, I was sent to boarding school. From standard 4, man, standard 4, standard 5. That was the worst, you know, because imagine you have the best life. You have like a short order cook in the kitchen who I don't feel like eating githeri, you know, the regular food just being eaten by everybody. I can say, no, I want pancakes. Speaking of pancakes, man, I used to have those for lunch. I was very spoiled. I don't want bananas. They taste nasty. They would get me like something else, a mango, even if they're not in season. My mom would go look for it. But they make my special cabbage. Spoiled, you know? Then you go to boarding school. No one cares about you. You are literally competing, you know, to even get food, which is basic githeri. Maize, corn, and beans. And the older kids will take it from you. And then you have to wash your clothes. There's no washer dryer. You have to wash your clothes. Then there's no running water. So you have to fetch your water, right? And then there's studies, man, prep, whatever you're going to call it. You wake up at 5, you go to class while they're serving porridge. And then when they ring the bell, you go, people run, and you go there, you pick your porridge. You find your porridge has already been stolen, right? Now it's been stolen. You don't even know where your plate is. And if you lose your plate, you get beaten. And every solution is a cane, right? I don't know if you went through that. So that was my memory of primary school. Primary school was the worst, especially when I went to boarding school. And that has been kind of like the baseline of what my life experience has been, because that was trauma. And then when you are there, there's no communication with your parents for 3 months, which at that time, you have no concept of time. So it looks like you're stuck in a black hole, man. So I was there for 3 months, came back home, cried probably the whole time, you know. I was that kind of baby. Came back home. I'm asking my mom, and you can't talk to your dad. Because you only talk to your dad only asks you questions and you answer, or he's only there to enforce, he's serious being a chief. So I'm asking my mom, why did you take me to that crap, man? She's like, it's good for you. I'm like, how is it good for me? Nobody asks me if it's good for me. So I spent the first holiday, you go in January and you stay there until April. My first holiday I spent campaigning to be removed out of that freaking school. I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do to get out of this place? Then my mom, and this I came to when he unlocked later, because I went to therapy and he unlocked later. My mom told me, we took you there so you can do better. And you can have a better shot in going to a great school like your older siblings. They went to national school. My sisters went to Alliance, Kenya High. Those days when it was prestigious, those were the white people's school, right? And those are the classy schools. Now those are the schools they went to. I was like, guess what? I will never read. So my protest was I wouldn't read. I wouldn't study. I was a disruptor. Okay? So every time they would take me to studies, in the morning, I would refuse to go to prep. I would get written up. I was getting caned nonstop, bro. And then when I get caned, I was like, yes, cane me harder so they can come pick a dead kid. You wanted me to come here and put me in prison and then I would go to home. If I go in a coffin, I would go. So that was me. I was rebellious. Even this dread here, I was rebellious. I should have had dread back then. So that was my experience with primary school, man. Literally. So, we are on the path of the little airport, right? Yeah, that's cool. But, yeah. Is it Paloma Airport? Whatever they call it? Paloma. Yeah, Paloma. But, so that's what it is. And you see, I went through all that. So standard 5, standard 4, standard 5, standard 6, standard 7. And then they introduced 844. So now they added another thing in the primary school. So when I went to standard 7, now that the final year is standard 8, now you are the senior boys. By that time, I had become acclimated, right? And I was thinking, it's not too bad. My mom has kind of made it seem like even her, it's not her fault. It's not her choice. She has to listen to the man. This is what is good for me. This is what's good for me, my younger brother. Because my younger brother went through the same cycle, but he has a different experience. But anyway, so when literally my first term in standard 8 came home, the same day, closing day we came home, my mom passed away. So I was going to tell her, Mom, I'm doing well. I promise you. Now I'm going to start studying. I'm going to pass this thing. And don't worry, I'll go to a good school. And she passed before I had the opportunity to tell her, you know what? I've understood it's not your fault. It's just the way things are. She passed. So what happened? Psychologically, I just locked it in. And now I went through that instead of 8. And then I went to high school, which was also just a blur. So when she died, I felt like, damn, I lost the opportunity to tell my mom she didn't do me wrong. And she really did care. And the little things were happening here and there. You could tell she was also very bothered by it, so I could see through that. So that is what happened to me. My mom is a very kind lady, the perfect lady for a chief, man, because she's a people person. That's why the foundation that I have, Wambiro Foundation, her name is Wambiro. Mary Wambiro Dambiri, the family name. She's just a people person. She would literally, if she bought me something, like a toy, and our home was a community home, a kid would come there and they say they want it, she would give them away. She would give away my shoes. Tell me, you are blessed. You don't have to work or whatever. This kid has to walk to go fetch water. You don't have to. There's water here or whatever. Give up your shoes, And then when she was born, the parents had many kids, right? I don't remember how many, but she was one of the girls. And the parents were like, we can only afford to take so many people to school. Girls are not a priority. Plus, you're going to get married anyway. What's the point of pumping education in you and then you get married? It's like investing in our account and then giving it away, right? That's the theory. Or that's the attitude people had. So she never went to school, but she was very interested in school. She even used to speak this weird English. We don't even know where she picked it up from because there's no TV, nothing. She couldn't read, literally, right? But she was very smart. Obviously, my dad married her. She was a beautiful girl. She must have been. And she used to say, I'm going to make sure the girls get education, because I was denied the same. And also, if you educate a girl, you have helped the family. Because if you educate a dude, the dude just takes off and goes and makes it rain in the city or wherever, he gets a job. Or he goes and marries somewhere else. And now it looks like now he has left there. And that is true. Up to today, I see that. So I'm very excited when I have an opportunity to help a girl, with education. Because when you help her, she seems to bring it back and pay it forward. But dudes, once they get it, you know how we are, man. I just buy big cars and put big rims, buy big houses, talk to girls away from the village. I don't even want to marry somebody from the trashy village. I want to marry a girl from the city. But a girl will, even when she gets married, she goes and does well. She goes to uni and she even living in the city. She'll keep coming back to look out for the kids, for the family, for the mother, build a house for the mother. So that was my mom. And the result of that is almost comical. People would thank her by naming her. So every year she used to have an event where she used to host a party of her namesakes, Rietawa. And there used to be like 20, 30 people named after her. People naming babies after her because of what she has done. And she used to say a secret, but how is it secret? Everybody knew she was doing it because people would talk about it. People would come and camp there asking her for. So she is just a giver, man. She's just, she's just a blessing, yeah. I have no idea. I don't want to call it arranged, but back in the 40s or in the 50s, it's just, you like a girl, you don't even talk to her. Your dad goes and tells, and my grandfather is chief. And they're like, and then they feel like, oh, you have stepped up, man. If you get married in that family, you're lucky. So my dad saw the girl. I don't know if there was through some sort of campaigning or whatever. They saw the girl, they send the family over there, they go there, they talk. So my mom is probably over there just cooking and doing everything. And she's like, what the hell are all these people showing up? And then one day she just told, pack your shit. That's how it was back in the day. Traditions. There's so many things. I don't know where to start, but Embu traditions are very similar to Meru. Because like I said, we're in the middle. So we have everything that everybody around us has. Polygamy is not something that's a foreign concept, but polygamy, as the modern people may think, oh, polygamy, you're cheating. You just want to be a player. No. Polygamy, somebody was looking at it like, if I have more kids, I'm going to get more land. It's wealth, right? And it's also a sign of wealth. These days you can flex a big car, big house. Back then, my grandfather had so many wives. But then when he became civilized, or now the colonial rule came, now he had to pick one. And the rest is just, I don't know what you can call them. But those are the ones they are people who are our neighbors. That's why if you're not careful, you could be talking to somebody and realize you're related. But then my dad, obviously, was the son of my grandfather. And he really wanted to follow the line. And he came around the time it was coming up, around the time now this was the way to go. He was just my mom. So that's Embu. So polygamy is part of the culture. Even today, it's just like there's not enough resources. And culturally, we just go willy-nilly. People have to allow you. Like I said, marriage is not just between two people, it's the families. So before you say you're gonna have a second wife, you have to be able, where are you gonna put her? How are you gonna support her? So resources don't allow that. But the culture is there. The other culture is, for the men, there's you grow up and then you get initiated through circumcision into manhood. I went through that, which is another thing which I regret because my mom never saw me go through that. So my mom only knew me as a child. And if you die culturally before you get circumcised into manhood, they used to call it initiation in English, but in Kiembu they just say it's circumcision. That's the way that's the ceremony, which is a very crucial part for a man, because that's when they teach you all the traditions. Now you're going to be a man. This is what you did as a child. This is what you're going to do as a man. And from there, you are supposed to build a family or build something of yourself. But if that happens, anything happens to you, you're buried right on your dad's compound, right? But if you get circumcised, you literally now your name comes up. Like me, the only reason I'm called Thamberi is because I came to the US before I was married. And so I still had my dad's name. And plus it was on paper, so I figured I'll keep it, right? But in essence, all my brothers, they don't get called Thamberis. They get called their names because they got initiated into manhood, they got married, their kids are all named after their name, their actual names, right? And that's how it works. The other thing is, it's very much community. Everything has to be done with community. If you do anything by yourself, it's a waste of time. You know, nobody cares if you're not sharing whatever your accomplishments are. That's why ceremonies are for everything. If you're driving by a place, you may not know whether it's a funeral or it's a wedding or it's a birth, because everything is a celebration. So, in a nutshell, that's Embo. Oh man, I'm telling you, I wish I was more prepared, and I wish, like you see, I didn't grow up like in the village to really get ingrained into that part of it. But I know it's there and I've experienced it. Like for example, I don't know if it's chicken pox or whatever people used to get when you're younger. I do remember, because my dad, being the chief, is involved with everything. These missionaries that used to come for different churches. And I remember one time, their daughter got the chicken pox or whatever. That's what we called it. I don't know. It may not have been chicken pox, but it's a rash that you get. And I remember I was going and getting that tree. I can't remember the name right now. Getting the thing and boiling it, or taking it to them like a bush, taking the bush to them, telling them boil it. And I remember I was sitting over there very amused, as you could hear her screaming in the bathroom, being washed with it, being bathed with it. And sure enough, it worked, right? And then also, I don't know if it's by lacking or it's by choice, people just believing that you get healed by what you find naturally than what comes in an envelope or something. So there's a lot of that. I don't want to call it witchcraft, but anyway, but people believe something is bad is happening to you. People believe in you going to a special guy. They call it witch doctor. So that's why I don't like to use that word, but it's not necessarily witchcraft. But if bad things are happening to you, there must be bad spirits. People will come pray for your house, pray for your child, When I was leaving for America, literally, they had a prayer ceremony, man, it was a long one, praying for me to be blessed, stuff like that, yeah. So there's a belief in that. It's just, like I said, I didn't really get too much into it because I was put in a boarding school, So I got removed from all that. So I never really got to understand it and actually experience it. But I know it in theory, and I've observed here and there when I'm there. Out there, or in Embu or outside of Embu? Of course. To me, Githeri is very common among the Gema people. The Gikuyu, Embu, Meru, Akamba. Yeah, we have a coalition, but we share a lot of customs. But Githeri, corn and beans, right? That's staple. But to me, I think what's Embu is Nyenyi, Mukimo. Is the one now that Githeri, they put potatoes and bananas and they pound it, right? And sometimes they put leaves in it so it looks green and they pound it. To me, that's the best. Like when I go to Kenya, people think I'm joking, but then they realize I'm not joking because you're from America. They want to give you this Western food. Sometimes people even want to take you to KFC. I'm like, no, I want Nyenyi, Mukimo, Githeri. They think I'm joking. And that's the one. I think it's the kind of people that live there, man. As we are Bantus, and I think we came with the Githeri if we came from, I don't know, West Africa, and they walked all the way down, or North Africa, we walked with it. Because corn and beans are very easy to grow. And if those are going bad, it was bad season. It was bad weather. We don't do wheat, growing collard greens and cabbage. Those are bougie, items, because you have to spend money and you have to maintain. But corn and beans, they are always there, So I think that's why. And then when you cook it, because there's no refrigeration, or at least when I was growing up, you cook it on Monday, or you cook it on Sunday, or you cook it on Saturday, you have that for the rest of the week. You just have to scoop it and vary it, like add cabbage or fry it, as they say, you know, gunito nini? I'm forgetting the word. Kora, something, I've forgotten. But you just fry it. So if you make it raw, you just boil it, and then they're all soft, and then you can eat it. You put some salt, you know. Some people even prefer it like that. Don't put no fat or nothing, you know, and that's why they live for a long time. The irony of the village, people live a long time and people associate with other things. But to me, it's very simple. It's because by economics, you are eating just the simple stuff. Something has no chemicals until they introduce all this nonsense, because we have all these things that are still, you know, filtering in there. If you grow everything and you eat it, that's why you live a long life. And you are active. You don't have a car to go anywhere. You know, you're just walking everywhere. You're the one who's weeding for it. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. They call it mashore. Is mashore the one? And I may be mistaken, and so Embus are going to be very disappointed. But mashore is like those. It's like the long thing. I don't know what they call it. They put it in water and they ferment. And then they also have Aitu changa. What is it called? Whatever it's called. The one is made with sugar cane. But then there's also the one they grill. It's wheat and they grind it with a stone. I wish I have pictures of those, man. I hope those stones are still there. I want to go pick them up and put them in my compound, so when I build my house, I can have them there. But there used to be ladies that used to come there and they do it for my mom. Any of those celebrations I was talking about earlier, if you have those celebrations, that must be there. Osuru. Ladies will be there waiting with the gourds. It's like a pumpkin that has been carved and it's been dried, and that's the one that's used as a cup. I speak Embu, and I have a little bit of everything. Like I went to high school in Meru. You know, I don't really say I can speak it, but I can hear Meru. I can say words here and there. Kikuyu, of course. Kikuyu is very easy to jump in from Embu. That's why you don't find me speaking Kikuyu, because I feel like if I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to talk to you in Kiembu, and I can understand you, and I'm sure you're going to understand. If you don't, I'll repeat it. I would rather speak Swahili. Then, of course, we have Swahili, which was like the national language. I still believe it is. And English. And then I've picked up other foreign languages after coming to the US. Like I was in Japan for 2 years, so I've forgotten most of the Japanese. But if I hear Japanese people speaking, I can pick things here and there. Or if it depends on what they are talking about. If there's anything about traveling or going places and they're talking about it, I know exactly what they're saying. You know, in Japanese. I can't write kanji or read it. But I was hoping I would, but I didn't make that a priority, so I never really picked it up. But so that Spanish, I mean, I can't say I'm any special, but just if somebody's speaking Spanish, I'm not going to be completely lost, you know. But that's it.